This is called SteinStern's Space Wars. It's a game that imagines what would happen if you made JJ the jet plane into a homicidal maniac in space. It has a very interesting co-op camera splitting mechanic, and ultimately what feels like a big blank slate of potential. It was quite fun to play, but there's no narrative or general purpose to why we're even doing anything. Some things feel outright unnatural, and there's a lack of any kind of cohesive theme. My ship has googly eyes. I'm sure I've shown you it already. Anyway. Now, it does have some really cool weapon systems, and it could be a really fun co-op game. But in its current state, it feels like it doesn't even care if I play it. So that'll be my main focus today, rather than focusing on every little detail. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, what I say by making it feel right is that currently the gameplay literally doesn't feel right. Vehicles with back propulsion do not fly like this. It's a very easy fix. We just switch our characters to UFOs. Now they can fly in any direction, face in any direction, none of it matters now. These crates are just static crates, occasionally just floating in space. They should probably be floating capsules. The shop is just a shop that's floating in space. It could just be a floating robot that sells us things and upgrades our shit. And we don't have a reason for walls to stop us while we're in space. So we kind of need to solve that problem. I think the easiest way to do that would be slap windows on the back. Now suddenly we're traveling through a space station rather than just traveling through a thing. People don't even need some kind of complex plot, but they do need some sort of narrative. We at least need to know what the fuck is happening here. What are we? What are those? Where are we? It's not like back in the 80s anymore where you can just be a yellow guy who eats circles. You need to know what's up. Even in Flappy Bird, we're a bird that's flapping through a way. In Angry Birds, we're birds being launched because of pigs. I don't remember. But here we're some sort of plasticine airplane craft floating through space halls, fighting drones. That's it. So by switching over to a space station, at least, now we have something forming here. We're going to space stations, right? How about we put a boss at the end of each of these levels that's more complicated than the other enemies. You beat the boss, you get the crates at the end, and then you move on to the next level. And each of one of these places we can just pretend is a different space station with a different boss. When we leave, maybe the space station blows up on our way out. How about that? Every 5 levels, put in a bigger, more epic boss. And then maybe at like level 20, there's like this gigantic boss that's extremely difficult to beat. I mean, if these levels really just expand infinitely, like it's, I don't know, do it at 30, but we don't need to keep going until like level fucking 300. People's computers can't handle that big of a room. Not to mention it would be like a fucking days long level. So like just cap it at 30 so it's something satisfying. If you want to do something silly and fun and lighthearted, we can just a PvP mode be like bumper ships or something like that. I don't know, but you know what I mean? We need something here. If you have a remotely complicated game and you've created a tutorial, this is not a compliment. It means you're not explaining things well enough. I mean, you can't just... When you do a tutorial, we're going to do this step by step. When you do a tutorial, you need to open up with literally every little function, explain every little side function that goes with those functions, and then we start explaining more complicated things. But we do things step by step, and we explain how they're done. You can't just tell people to go do a thing without telling them how to do it. That's not how you explain things to people. Anyway, sorry. So, when you dodge in a game, you need to be dodging. So what we need to do is hide the collider. Unmask it from any of the projectiles or any of the ship's collision layers. And then put walls on their own layers. Everything always collides with all walls. We're good. If we're switching over to UFOs, a very easy way to just make them also dash without having to do a whole-on animation, just have them modulate to white, disappear, and reappear at wherever the hell the end of the dash would be. You feel me? It would look cooler, more sci-fi. It also helps definitely, like, you're not getting hit, you know? Like, it just gives you all the vibes. Just make sure you don't actually disappear them entirely, because again, walls. I'm gonna have so much fun on these transitions, man. I just downloaded a bunch of new music. Now, I do want you to keep in mind, I wouldn't be making this video unless I thought this video game had potential. I do think it needs quite a bit of work, and I'm always open for a second session for you or any developer for that matter. Or if you just hate me now, that's fine too. But if you do want to come back for a second session, by the end of that video, I would expect we'd be able to incorporate an actual theme to this game. And just in case you wanted to, I've prepared 2 different routes I believe this game would be successful at taking. None of these are any form of finalized, obviously, and regardless of which one you might want to go with, there would still be other adjustments in the future for either. SteinStern is a very strong name that I think would work really well. I don't know why we're including Space Wars in the title, but either theme can definitely incorporate Space Wars still. So the first route would be taking it a more arcade game route, where we focus more around high scoring, and will allow you to not have to include much narrative at all. But to stand out as a quality arcade game, we would need a graphics and special effects overhaul. And you'd also need to create and incorporate more in-game additions, such as bouncing bullets or shrapnel, homing rounds, things of that nature. So that's pitch 1. Pitch 2 is more of a straight-laced comedy concept where we build a story about strange plastic creatures from a different dimension brought over by like some interdimensional deity or god, and we just pretend like it's this normal epic adventure with these silly looking things. The upside is that you only have to add in to what you currently have rather than having to replace a bunch. But it would involve a lot of animating cutscenes and adding in dialogue. And any of the writing or the directing of the cutscenes, I'm always available to help out with that. I wouldn't pitch this kind of a story unless I would be willing to help with that. But it was pretty much just like, you know, a preview of if you wanted to come back around a second time. And you can also just not give a shit. That's totally fine too. I hope you think about it. If you're down, I'm down. Let me know. Bye.